Thanks again for tuning into Real Health. Today's topic is all about shedding some light on the areas of chiropractic, biokinetics and physiotherapy and how you can benefit from seeing one or more of these professionals. Justine, I'm going to give you a chance there because I was asking Kevin, where would one go to a chiropractor and where would one go to a physiotherapist? And you said a lot of it a lot of your work would consist of or entail hospital care or post-operative care.
So there are obviously outpatient physios that work with a lot of pain management and dysfunctional movements and sports injuries, but a lot of work that people don't recognize that we do is in hospital care. So and that's primary care that starts as soon as you've been hospitalized. So whether it was from pneumonia and we start doing chest physio, starting to build up your endurance, helping you to get the phlegm out and that kind of thing, or if it's been a major car accident, perhaps you broke some bones and you also had your rib cage fractured and that actually caused a puncture in your lung. We actually help to start rehabilitating the lung. We start to work with, as soon as the surgeons say that the bones are actually now stable, we'll start mobilizing you. We'll be the first person to help you get you out of bed.
See, I find that so interesting because when I did fracture my lower vertebra, I wasn't told to go for physiotherapy or even go and see a biokineticist. And I know the medical world has changed a lot. We're starting to work together. But that's the reason why now, 10 years on, I have to see Shay as often as I do because I'm struggling with something that happened all those years ago because I didn't go and see someone like you.
But I mean, it's strange for me because were you admitted to hospital?
Yeah.
Normally, every doctor has their physios that they refer to. You should have been given exercises already in the hospital, they should have told you contraindications of what not to do to keep your body safe, and then they should have given you information about an outpatient physio that you could have continued with.
And had I known, I would have gone to someone like you because the key is you don't have to be injured to go and see a biokineticist, right?
No, not at all. I mean, the reality is it's great to see somebody post-operative, they've been to the physiotherapist, they're no longer in pain. So now we work on, for you, getting your core stronger, getting you functional again, getting you moving pain-free. But you don't have to have an operation to come and see a biokineticist. Do you have poor posture? Do you have low muscle tone? Children that battle with any kind of pain, they may not have necessarily injured themselves. I see school kids often, many of them not active, which has their own issues. And those are the types of patients that we see as well, definitely.
As you touched on school kids, many of them are wearing these heavy backpacks.
Absolutely.
So we're seeing more kids with neck pain, shoulder pain, back pain.
All the time.
What type of advice are you giving to parents?
I've dealt with a lot of young boys that are 7 or 8 years old, but they're only doing one-sided sports. So they're always doing cricket, squash, tennis, and especially if they're still growing, the whole one side of the shoulder and scapula and musculature of the spine strengthens on the one side, but it's not a bilateral sport. So I always advise it's good to do, boys love those kind of sports, but it's always good to mix it up with something that's a bit more bilateral, like swimming or athletics or soccer, that they can at least still strengthen both sides of their bodies.
I think that's where school PE comes into play, where they should encourage children to do not just running around the field and just keeping them busy for a period of time. They need to actually create movements and functional type movements for the kids to do. That's so good for them. It's their primary movements, think that they should be doing often that they're not doing enough of. And if they can just teach them that in class or in a PE lesson already, especially for the kids that aren't playing sport, that's the biggest challenge, is how do you get a child active and exercising if they don't even play a sport after school?
I digress a little bit, but I think it's an important question because it has come up before. The topic of weight training and kids that are particularly under the age of 16 and 18. What are your opinions? Because now I have a physiotherapist, a biokineticist and a chiropractor telling me their differing opinions. What are your thoughts?
From my perspective, I think proper posture is so relevant to the mechanical system and structure of the body. We've got, I think it's 206 bones in the body that are constantly under strain from whatever it is that you're doing with your body at any time. And obviously once you start applying additional strain to the body with things like resistance training, the body has to be ready for that kind of thing. And what we're seeing a lot of now, what I see actually in practice, is especially boys that are playing rugby.
Yes.
The demands on them physically is huge, and it's becoming very professional at a very young age already. Yeah. And so they're starting to take all sorts of muscle enhancing supplements, and they literally overdoing it, causing repetitive strain type injuries. The tendons and attachments and origin areas of the muscle attachment points are not strong enough to withstand the severity of the training that they're doing. So we're seeing a lot of injuries coming through.
Sure, and I know as a CrossFitter, this is what you see.
It's exactly.
I think it's fantastic that you're a biokineticist and a CrossFitter, because a lot of people say, oh, I make a lot of money off CrossFitters.
People hate on CrossFit, yes. But you know what? And for me, because of CrossFit, I think there's tons of room for weightlifting. But any child that I would see that will come to me and say they do Olympic lifts in their training for school or for whatever sport they're doing at school, I will take them back. I will say, okay, let's do an assessment on you from head to toe. You check their functional movement, their primary movements. Are they mobile? Are they stable in their movements? And even from there, then you check the kind of technique that they're using. That's the most important thing. If they're conditioned enough to do it, great. Then, are they using correct technique? Then, I also don't believe that kids under the age of 16, like we were talking about, necessarily need to be doing 1 rep max movements where they're loading their bodies to their highest maximum capacity. I don't think that that's necessary. They can use it to create explosive power, to get stronger, but they don't need to be pushing their bodies to the maximum limits.
I especially think that children under 16 should be using their own body weight. So push-ups, pull-ups, because you find that they can maybe bench lift or do a certain exercise in a certain way, but they cannot even do one functional proper pull-up. So for me, the focus is on using your own body weight as resistance before you start. And you'll find that young kids do that automatically, climbing jungle gyms and very young kids, but they don't maintain it. And if even adults could maintain that, then we would actually all be so much healthier.
It's a great market if you've got a young child, adolescent that is doing some sort of exercise. At least that's one thing. You can then guide them appropriately. Their mindset is right. But what we see a lot of are the sedentary kids that are actually the opposite spectrum, where they sit very slouched at the computer
low
all
muscle
day.
tone, poor posture, behind a cell phone or an iPad, and
text neck.
I was going to ask you about text neck.
Absolutely.
In fact, we'll bring that after the break, because I think I'm suffering from a bit of text neck, and it's just sitting on your laptop all the time, on your cell phone all the time. But even reading, because then you're always in that position, so you have to remember to lift things up. Well, I'll get your tips actually. So do stay with us. We're going to go into a few more conditions and questions after this short break. We'll see you in a short while.
I'm feeling better.